Welcome back, everybody. Royalty and Bronze Army. Wow. Royalty, not a complete loss despite losing to Rogue. They picked a lot of like squishy characters there. I was kind of doubting whether they were going to win or not. This isn't the first time we've seen them pick. This isn't the first time we've seen Bronze Army pick the beefy characters. But all these players in this tournament today, Trix and Cosby, like they've played so many games since this morning. It's like this long marathon. It's a game of endurance, right? I do think playing in these kinds of tournaments can really tire you out, so that affects your decision making when you're playing, especially if you've been playing all day. What do you think, Trix?
Yeah, definitely. You know, having played in events like this, fatigue starts to set in. You know, you've been sitting down for hours. You've been, which on its own isn't tiring, but you're staring at a bright screen. Your eyes start to hurt. And then as the fatigue sets in, maybe your comms go down a little bit. You start making a couple of like micro misplays that affects your mental, and all of that cascades across 5 players to really end up, your performance degrades heavily from the start of the day to the end.
I think that's kind of why we saw the draft that we did see is we saw Team Royalty coming off that loss pick what I saw to be comfort picks. Like they might not have been what a lot of people think is the strongest in their position, but we saw what can happen with Shinbi and Kalari when they're piloted by really skilled individuals who are comfortable on those characters. They really just ran away with the game.
Yes, and they were dealing a whole lot of damage onto Bronze Army. So Bronze Army with that has CM Stark, Plato, Cha, Sawcap, and Miso Sneaky, and then Royalty on who is North, Six, Seismic, Dare, and Province. Congrats to Royalty for winning that game. But I want to talk about the next game that's coming right up. We have our last game of this tournament. It's been a really long day. Both these teams are undefeated. Okay, undefeated. They haven't lost the game yet. That's Rogue. So that's Tekken Kid, their offlaner, Crashy, their jungler, Lakeinator, mid lane, Penzo on that support, and Haru as their AD carry. Red Dojo with Blue Jay, Atomic, Akaram, Natty, and Mimuse. What do you guys think about this last game for today? Trix.
Yeah, so Rogue, Tekken Kid, and the offlane, incredibly consistent player. The big toss-up is kind of the duo lane. Haru, really incredible ADC, great positioning, but Penzo really favors those kind of feast or famine support picks. So if you're looking at things like the Richter, you either hit the hook or you don't. And if you don't hit the hook, then you're kind of not a character for the next 16 seconds. In the mid lane, coming out, let's see, we have, I'm blanking.
Lakeinator on I believe on Rogue, and then I want to say Atomic for Red Dojo, because I saw Mimuse as the offlaner playing Gadget. So
yeah, the Atomic and Lakeinator matchup. Lakeinator, an incredibly versatile player, really, really deep champion pool, and that gives that team the ability to flex a lot of picks. I know he's very comfortable on Revenant. He's very comfortable on Howitzer. He's very comfortable on pretty much any character in the game. And that gives them the ability to draft, maybe more abstract comps. Possibly might even see a Decker mid. You never know.
Oh my gosh, if there's a Decker mid. What do you think, Cosby?
I am really looking forward to seeing what these teams do in their draft. They've had the whole tournament to watch the other team, other side draft and play. I think they should have a good idea of what the other team wants to pick. And I think whichever team drafts with the most purpose here, with a team comp already in mind, and they'll be the ones that end up winning the game.
Do you think we're going to see the triple megacosm again on the triple mages? I believe that's what a Red Dojo did.
I sure hope not, but it worked for them. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right? But you know what I want to see though, which I don't want to see it. But what I see a lot in like public matches is a lot of like that double ADC. We haven't seen that at all today. And people say we're in an ADC meta, but watching the games today, maybe we're in a different meta now and everyone's playing mages.
think it's a damage meta is what I've
Right.
seen. There's Sev,
Damage
who's
meta.
the one tank in the game, and everyone else just deals so much damage the other person can't live. That's what I've been seeing in today's game, so I expect to see more of the same.
Yeah, double ADC is not incredible. You end up losing out on not only a front line, but also wave clear. So sure, it's oppressive in the laning phase, yeah. But once you're out of laning phase, you just have these two squishy targets for mages to blow up. We've seen it earlier and all day today. Howitzer lands one ability and then presses R, and the carry's not there anymore. The Sevarog runs at the carry with Razor back on, and the carry is half health before the Sevarog's even there. Double ADC is only good in laning phase, and it's only really good if you struggle in that range versus melee matchup.
I think if you're expecting the multi-mage comp to come out of Red Dojo, you want to draft. I don't think melee last game that they played into is really the problem. The problem was the specific melees they picked. They had no mobility. They just got poked down and really could do nothing against it, with the exception of Feng Mao. You really want to look for like a Sevarog, the Feng Mao, anything that could close the gap between these guys, or else you're just going to stay at a range where you can't hit them and they're just going to pelt you down to no health in no time.
Who do you think? Do you think they're gonna pull off that triple mage pick again? So I know Red Dojo had, correct me if I'm wrong, Gideon, had Gadget, and as well as Howitzer support.
If I was drafting against Red Dojo, I would put my money on it that they would try to at least prioritize the mages. They might not go for the triple mage. Maybe that was just something they saw an opportunity to counter specific lanes in the last game, but they definitely like it in the solo lane, and obviously have no problem playing it as support either.
Yeah. But going back into that, yeah. Sorry, Trix, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the mages are pretty flexible picks as is, and knowing that, you know, Akarim is so proficient and comfortable on the Howitzer support makes that a even more priority pick or ban. And if you go into the match as Rogue knowing that, you can, you know, plan for some little mind games, maybe ban a different character because you're expecting them to put more of a value on Howitzer when you're de-emphasizing that.
Right. We kind of talked about Sevarog being either a pick or a ban. Do you think we'll be able to see him in this last match at all, Cosby?
I expect to see him. Like I said, what I would be doing here is banning a mage against Red Dojo and either picking first, whether we have first pick, or, you know, reacting to their first pick. I really think the mages here are going to be the focus of the draft, and Sev may have a chance to slip through depending on what second pick decides to ban.
Yeah, I'm not letting Tekken Kid. I'm not letting Tekken Kid play Sevarog. There's no way.
Especially
I'm yelling
because he
at
was
my
just
teammates.
WPing like the whole, well, I wouldn't say the whole time, but he pretty much took that inhibitor and correct me if I'm wrong, and then it just started snowballing from there, and then all of a sudden they lost 3 inhibs and they were pushing to core.
Even on the last game, Bronze Army, Stark was on Sev, and they just couldn't push. They couldn't kill him. They pushed him out of lane. They destroyed every other lane on the map, and they just couldn't kill him. We've seen really no one beat the Sevarog in lane.
Yeah, you don't want to take off, you know, one of your lanes and then just basically say like, oh, hey, this is lost, but like we're gonna try to make things on the other side of the map. It just feels bad.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Cosby, if you had like your ideal group of 5 heroes, who would you pick? I know this is like a really broad question,
easy. Yeah.
But I gotta know.
Howitzer, Howitzer, then Howitzer.
Okay, but what if you can't do Howitzer times 5?
Well, that's, you know, it's really situational, but I prefer being a frontliner myself. I like to have at least one tank, one off tank or diver warrior type guy. You know, your standard support, ADC, mage, and then whatever's really strong in that role in the meta. And right now we've seen the Sevarog, we've seen the Howitzer. Jungle's been kind of, whoever's really comfortable on their pick has been winning the jungle. And then ADC and duo, the ADC support duo has kind of been up in the air as well.
What about you, Trix?
So I'll give a more concrete answer than Cosby did. I'll say Sevarog in the off lane, absolutely. Howitzer in the mid lane, 100%. I think those two picks are like just uncontested, strongest picks. For AD carry, I think it goes either way. You can say Drongo, you can say Kira. I think that they're, you know, pretty equal in terms of just like raw power. It's kind of down to how the team wants to play the fights. And then in jungle, looking at, I personally like a Rampage. He does a lot of damage. He's pretty mobile. That CC is really good. And then support, Belica or Decker. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah, if it were me, I would go Belica. But going into this match though, Rogue and Red Dojo, who do you think will win? Who do you think will you know, be our top contender coming out of the group stage? Do you guys have any like picks at all?
After what we saw from Rogue, I can't count them out. I really can't. Respect to both teams. I hope we see an even greater game than the last one, but
I can't
count them out.
Team content creator Rogue. So Cosby is voting Rogue. Okay, what about you, Trix? Do you agree?
You know, Rogue put on an excellent show against Royalty. However, I will say that if we replayed that match 10 times, I don't think that it would go that way 10 times out of 10. Whereas looking back at Red Dojo's matches, I think that they have shown that they are, you know, much more consistent. I think that if we replayed Red Dojo's last match, they're probably winning 7, 8, 9 times out of 10.
All right. You know, this is really tough for me because actually, personally, I don't know a lot about Red Dojo myself, but I know a lot of the players. Actually, I know all of the players for Team Rogue. So, and Tekken is a personal friend of mine. So I think I'm going to go for Rogue. He is just he's a menace on the off lane, and I know he just, and I've personally also gone against him too, and it was a really sweaty match.
OG Paragon gamer as well.
I know, right? Yeah. Oh wait, is he? Oh yeah, he is OG Paragon gamer. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So I know you guys can't wait to watch this last match. Let's go ahead and watch this game. Take it away, casters.
Hey, thank you very much, our dog and our wonderful desk. We're going to see them one more time today. But before that happens, we have some dust to settle for third or fourth. Who's going to get that priority side of the bracket, be able to avoid our #1 seeds, Team Immune right now. They are just about to get into Spooks or the draft picks and bans. Spooky, what do you think is about to happen?
Well, I can tell you what just happened is you got outvoted, Lance, on the desk. You've been pushing Red Dojo this whole time. Desk has outvoted you.
They may have lost the popular vote, but they're about to win the Electoral College. I know that Red Dojo has got what it takes here. I'm a homer. I'll be a homer forever, but I got Red Dojo in this. But I do got mad love for my guys Crashy and Pinzo and Haru. Crashy's kind of NA West as well, so I gotta give a little love to NA West one more time.
Well, I guess someone does have to do that because it's certainly not going to be me.
Yeah, all 15 of us.
Going into this, I mean, I got to expect that Red Dojo is going to ban that Sevarog away. I would say Rogue actually has the power position here, being on the side that they are, and indeed is Sevarog banned away. So the question is, oh wait, no, this is just
all right. Yeah, flipped, so it's on the opposite side of the map for some reason. It's flipped, which is why me and Spooky were just confused, but it looks like Red Dojo is going to be the people doing the first pick of it, which is going to give the very last pick of the draft over to Rogue. I do see that the howitzer is locked or is left up here. If I do not see this locked in, I might lose the rest of the tiny bit of hair I have on the top of my head. I would be shocked.
Yeah, I have to imagine that Red Dojo is going straight for their howitzer here. It's been a staple pick for them. It's been incredibly powerful in the meta, and they've just shown flexibility with it, right? They can put it in that support role. Great. If they don't want it there, they can put it in the mid role. That's going well for them as well. He's going to leave this Gideon up, which has been the classic kind of response to this howitzer. But is it a response to the howitzer is the question the Rogue has to be asking themselves right now because of the flexibility that the Dojo has. These counter picks don't work if you don't know where everything is going. And this Belica doesn't really soften that up at all, unless that's...
So that should be on the other side of the draft board, I believe, because Rogue should have had 2 picks there.
Yeah.
I do want to take a second while we sort the visual side of this out really quick. I was in Red Dojo's voice comms just a little bit ago before this to ask them how they were feeling and see if they were ready. And Akarum did the most damage in the game last game on that support howitzer. The leader in the entire lobby, he blew everybody away apparently. So yeah, look out for another potential support howitzer here. Maybe they did get the Bellica. Oh, so it's Gideon and Rampage on that side, and then Bellica for Red Dojo as well. And then we should see another pick coming up for Red Dojo right now, from my understanding. That is what the little birdie in my ear is telling me. Yeah, and then the crunch to follow it as well. So it doesn't look like we're going to see the still actually the small potential for the 3 mages if Red Dojo is going to lock in that gadget. Bellica, a little bit of a stretch on if she's a mage or not, but I think technically she is. Rogue's going to pick up a Drongo and a Richter there, so the double silence duo lane gonna turn people's screens gray for a real long time.
I think that's a very powerful duo to pick up, especially if you're expecting Red Dojo to go for this triple mage comp. Because a mage without their abilities isn't really a character at that point, Lance. They're going to throw out the smallest amounts of basic attack damage that you've ever seen in your life. And they're going to have to settle for that because they can't cast any of their abilities. Even better, Richter can keep these targets CC'd, chained down in that silence cloud and just refuse to allow them to do anything. If you CC chain this correctly, it's a Drongo gag grenade into a Richter Riplash still in that gag grenade, and only once that cloud disappears is Richter going to activate his own silence. The ability to keep these mages silenced is incredible right now.
Perfect. Yeah, I agree with that. The hook into the silence and everything that Richter has available for him is just so impressive. I have recently learned a new way to play the Richter, where instead of always trying to hit those long distance hooks like they look so good on the highlight reel, you just walk towards them. He's very he's got one of the only like true movement speed amplifications where he can just run straight at you, where if you don't have a dash or some sort of movement, he gets onto you. Those hooks get way easier to hit at close range. They're almost as effective, not losing a whole lot of value to him. And yeah, they are going to lock that gadget in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another howitzer support coming out of Dojo onto Akram's hands this game.
Yeah, but I like this adaptation coming from Rogue here. The Kalari.
I've got a little bit of insight here. That is Tekken Kid. He plays off-lane Kalari all of the time. He is rocking this. He does it all of the time on his streams. He's smashed me in solo queue with it several times. Not a whole lot of people have the kutzpah in order to play Kalari offlane, but Tekken Kid does it several times a day. I'm excited to see that matchup. Into the probably gadget as well.
I don't like that as much as I would have liked it in the jungle. I mean, this is an incredibly powerful pick to punish these mages if they are willing to put it over there. If they put Rampage to Tekken's hands and put him in the solo lane, I think that's just a better draft overall because it allows this Kalari to be more active and actually try to put these mages in the ground earlier on. Now, if it's comfort pick for Tekken, obviously comfort is king, but I would hope that we see a lot of rotations from Tekken in that case.
One of the other things that I think is worth noting is one of the things that makes Gadget a strong offlaner is how easily she gets away from the enemies, right? So one of the things that Kalari provides that a lot of those other people don't, like Sevarog. Sevarog still has the dash on the ground. Kalari double jumps up over the gate, doesn't get rooted, and is able to stick to Gadget a way that other offlaners aren't. So it might be a small, cheeky, almost counter pick here, but it's going to be interesting to see how that goes off. Not a whole lot of experience with watching Kalari versus Gadget matchups and lanes, so really feels like a toss-up to me for how that's going to go, but I would imagine that's part of the reasoning for picking Kalari into the Gadget, as they did get that as their last pick, and we're able to see all of Red Dojo's team composition.
Yeah, there's always a method to the madness, right? You can never... Anytime these teams are picking something, there's a reason they're going for it. If they feel confident, absolutely should be the play they're making. The question is, can they execute that? Because the biggest thing we've seen in these games so far from Red Dojo is they pick these triple mages and they just kind of ride their early game, accelerate into that mid game, and that's where they start really putting the pressure on. If they want this Kalari to find success, sure, being a counter pick to the Gadget is a good starting point, but you have to facilitate that pick. You also need to get this Rampage over into that lane. Allow Tekken to utilize the pressure that he gets from winning that matchup and translate it across the map. Bring this Kalari a lead, and then bring that lead over to the mid lane, over to the Fang Teeth. That's where you're going to see success.
I completely agree with you. I do. It's running through my head right now, so I just want to make sure I take a second to highlight just the strength of these community of players. There are we've mentioned it before, but there's like 24 characters in this game, and the amount of off-meta things that we've seen. We saw a duo lane go mid. We saw somebody go completely squishy, no damage, and like absolutely roll a team. We've seen a Kalari off lane now. We saw 3 mages out of Red Dojo in the last event. We are seeing versatility and flexibility with a tiny roster available to these players, which really shows the understanding of this game and MOBAs in general that our player base has and what they are, putting forth to try to get those advantages over these other teams so that they're not just seeing the same things that they're seeing in solo queue, trying to do things to catch people off like Tekken Kids, Kalari offlane. So really impressive, I say, just as a whole of our player groups, top to bottom, outstanding.
Look, man, the meta is boring. Make your own meta, right?
That's what I'm talking about, Spooky.
A meta forms based around the community and what they choose to do, right? If you decide you're going to start playing Kalari and you're excelling in that, if you're doing well, suddenly people are going to be questioning their meta picks and thinking, well, maybe I should start playing Kalari in the solo lane. Like, do what brings your strengths out.
We saw just a quick intro of who's on what lanes. I did see that Akram is on that howitzer again. So I want to highlight this duo lane on Red Dojo really quick. The amount of level 1 and level 2 poke that comes out from Howitzer Revenant is enough to kill anybody. Level 1 or 2. They need to be careful. If a full Q from Revenant lands the Obliterate and a Q R2009 lands from Howitzer, you will die level 2. So keep your eyes over there. That lane could be explosive.
Yeah, there's lots of kill potential on both sides of that, really, right? Because you've got this Howitzer and this Revenant who are just insanely strong, have great poke game. But the all-in from the Richter and the Drongo is also pretty potent at this second level. It becomes a question of, do they want to take the 50-50? Do they want to try to all-in and find that early kill when it could so quickly flip on its head? On the other side, the Red Dojo, they've got more poke. They have the ability to sit back and put some damage downrange before deciding, okay, this is where we're going to start to really commit to things. And so I do think Red Dojo has a slight advantage in this early game as long as they play it carefully and intelligently like they have been all day.
Yeah, and good job of Haru there on the Drongo avoiding some of that damage. Like we mentioned before, you do not want to take that poke. Good job of at least dividing that up a little bit here with Pinzo, even though Pinzo's got those shields back up. It actually doesn't look like Pinzo took any of that, my bad. But still, great job of surviving that first initial poke, as you did see them go for that early level 1 kind of all-in-esque type thing over here in the duo lane. They do need to be careful, though. As we said, these guys are squishy, though. One good hook out of Pinzo here could really just turn the tides of this. Drongo pumps a lot of damage out, and early as well as late game. But Aka's not playing afraid at all. Way up in their faces, as he should be. They don't have any sort of minion wave here to be able to really defend themselves, as they're going to take the third wave of the game already into their tier 1 turret.
Now, this is exactly how Red Dojo should be playing this. I mean, they have the level advantage. They're level 2. They're looking at Rogue. They're still level 1. They know that they can be a little bit more aggressive, especially since they've got the minion damage there. So why not step a little bit further forward? Try to keep this minion wave pushed into Rogue's lane, but hang on, the first blood.
Yeah, put him on the board. That's my guy Atomic catching first blood there in the... Oh, actually, no, I got this backwards. That's my guy Atomic getting killed in the mid lane. So shout out to my guy Atomic for giving first blood over like a gentleman. Put him on the board. Oh, he's going to get the green buff as well before he pops out. So heck of a job there by Lakeinator, trying to turn himself into the ocean, get a little bit bigger than a lake. Good little progress onto the gadget. What is she doing there in the mid lane, though? Must have hit a roam over for it. Not wanting... Yeah, and getting hit. Not wanting to stay in lane with Tekken, as the Kalari is already pushing her out of the lane.
I mean, if you don't think you can find success in that lane, go ahead, rotate a little bit. Look for something else. It could be also that they had already cleared the wave, tried to push it up a little bit, and then look for a rotation. But if you take a look on that right side, you can see that is not the case. Tekken Kid has the wave pushed up into that tower. That's going to be a significant XP loss for Red Dojo.
Moo probably lost at least half of that lane's worth of experience over there on the gadget. Usually takes pretty calculated backs and pathings, so I'll be interested to pick his brain about that decision towards the end of this.
I'm looking forward to that conversation.
A lot of poke coming out over here onto the Drongo, as we expected, with pretty much as deadly of as much of a kill lane as you can realistically run in duo lane without being trolling. But here's gonna come the gank.
Yeah, Rampage is here, and Occam is the target, dangerously low, and does go down to the bleed. Drongo has found the first kill in this duo lane. What was pure pressure for Red Dojo has just been flipped on its head here, Lance.
Right, and that's one of the problems with that pressure. These lanes over here in the side, they are long, and if you get too far pushed up, a good opportunity with a gank, if you don't have that ward coverage, can make it so you have to retreat the entirety of that lane. As you can see, that can have some detrimental consequences sometime, as Ock was able to fall over, give the second kill of the game over to Rogue as well.
Now, pressure continues across the board. We do see Atomic trying to push this Gideon out, trying to force Lakenator back a little bit. It's a slippery target here in the mid lane. It's going to have to settle for a rotation. Keep an eye on these side lanes, though. We've seen these teams want to get active. They are more than happy to make plenty of rotations. We've already seen 2 come out so far. But to you, Lance, where does Red Dojo go?
Where does Red Dojo go? I think that they need to continue to play through this this duo lane. If everyone knows what a late game Revenant is like, they got to try to get that Revenant to that spot as early as they can. Especially if they're going to want to be able to completely blow up Drongo, Kalari, and Gideon, which is going to be very important in team fights. With the kill pressure that they're able to exclude with this Howitzer, with this Revenant over here in this lane, I think that they have to try to force stuff over here, because there hasn't been a whole lot of attention on this side of the map out of Blue Jay yet, but I would like to see some put on.
You can see Red Dojo is on that side. Had a little bit of a showing there on the river, but mostly just Aku coming back to the lane. Crunch is there as well, maybe looking for the gank. We'll have to see how that one pans out, but it's still just not really working out. It seems like this pressure, Lance, is working against Red Dojo because they're keeping Rogue pushed so far up. They're right next to their tower. To find any real aggression, Red Dojo will have to dive that tower, and at 6 minutes in, it doesn't feel like they have the team comp that can really facilitate that.
Yeah, not super wise to be diving that deep 6 minutes into the game, especially with the comp that they have. Still a lot of squishiness going on in it, and I think at this point, Rogue can kind of just sit back and continue to press these small advantages that they have, heavily turn it into it. And just like that, there's another hook that's going to be bad for Ock. They're toast, and they're looking to get another one as well, as Haro is going to come in. But, man, big pulls coming out of Pinzo, making this lane look a little dunzo already, only 7 minutes into the game, which could not play better for Rogue, as that is probably the main win condition for Red Dojo, with Atomic being on Bellica in the mid lane as well. Hard to play the triple mages from too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly what we were expecting to see. The pull into the silence. A bit of a scuffle over the river buff, but Biz Lakenator is able to pick that one up. We did see some eyes look towards that Fangtooth, but it feels like Rogue doesn't think they're far enough ahead right now. Didn't really want to commit to that. They saw some showings from Red Dojo. They said, okay, well, we're not going to try to tank Fangtooth at 7 minutes and tank damage from Red Dojo. Made the decision to just take a step back from that. This mid lane, though, is just a battle of abilities. You can see that they're trying to find any kind of pressure. So far, this mid lane has been very back and forth. It hasn't gone either team's way, really, just yet. Where's the break point on that?
So the big break point, and they should be getting to it right about now, is level 6. There's massive burst potential coming out of the Bellica, but that is when the Gideon wants to start moving around. We do see he's level 7, so he's been 6 for a minute, has the black hole up. Look to see him move around the map and try to do something, but look for that Bellica to watch and manage his mana, make sure he doesn't get too low, and follow him in these roams to potentially assassinate him when he gets to where they're at. The Gideon does roam exponentially faster than the Bellica does, though, with the portal. So probably going to be a couple steps ahead, Lakenator will be.
Managing mana is certainly not one of my strong points. You never want to see me in your mid lane because I am 9 times out of 10 out of mana, and all I've hit is like 3 minion waves. Very bad at that.
Spamming, why aren't you ganking me, jungler? Why aren't you ganking? I get it. I'm there. I'm the same
No, I
player.
haven't figured out
So
that system yet.
Aka's in trouble a little bit.
Oh,
but
boy.
actually, Richter's starting to fall a little bit low. But here comes Blue Jay on the crunch. He's going to try to get a little bit of a follow-up going on. The Revenant ult is going to come out, soak up Enzo. And Blue Jay is going to come forward. Ooh.
Blink.
Yeah, Blue Jay is going to be able to finish that up, get that kill onto Haru. That's good. That's going to get them a little bit of extra gold, as Haru had the majority of the kills so far. So getting a little bit of extra gold into the robot's pockets. Blue Jay shows up just when he needs to, but Crashy is going to answer on the other side of the map, looking towards that mini prime. The other members of Red Dojo are starting to collapse towards it. Moo's going to drop the Seek and Destroy on it, but it is still pretty high health. Let's see if he's got the Tesla Dome and if he's going to put it on it. Okay, yep, and that is going to be secured by Crashy, who has the hunt available as Blue Jay was on the other side. Big black hole is going to come out from from Lakeinator to hold him in place there, and then the kill is going to get picked up by Tekken Kid on the Kalari. Great play over there by Rogue, realizing that the jungler is in the dual side of the map, moving straight to that mini prime. Red Dojo is able to answer it with a Fangtooth take, but honestly, Mini Prime is a lot better objective than Fangtooth 1 at pretty much any time in the game.
I mean, this is exactly what we saw in Rogue's other game against Royalty, right? They see things are happening on that left side, and they know, okay, they're probably going to go for this Fangtooth. Whoa, big pull, brings Howie right on in. Big Blink gets him out, Crunch coming in. Blue Jay wants to try to turn this one around. Gag Grenade doesn't seem to be available just yet. Oh, now they're trying to find their way back out. Look who's here. It's Lakeinator looking to try to put one more down. And still, Aku stands strong. Finally, they take the howitzer down. Still,
yeah,
look for a little bit
and it
more.
Doesn't look like this is quite over yet. Richter's looking to get another one of those pulls, but I don't know how familiar with memes you are, Spooky, but there's this great DJ Khaled one where it's congratulations, you played yourself. And that's what the howitzer just did with the E that they bopped down. The Richter pulls that Aka is able to pop that E, and then it pops Richter back, which makes the hook even longer, getting those super ranges on it. That was a really cool interaction. Probably one of the cooler.
Not for Aku.
Not for Akram, but for Team Rogue and for Pinzo Dunzo. That's a highlight reel clip right there. Oh, I pulled him through the E. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a highlight clip for everything.
They are just getting aggressive, just walking straight towards the stairs. Lakeinator does not care about these guys. Crashy's here to protect him. If you know anything about Lakeinator, you know a lot about Lakeinator, and he is not afraid of anything in here. Repping Canada strong, not willing to back down to Red Dojo here.
I mean, he's not afraid, but perhaps he should be just a little bit more afraid than that. If I'm the squishy mage and I just turn a corner into the enemy jungle and I see 3-4 people, I might be hitting the Control Z undo, please. Now, in the meantime...
Go ahead, Spooky, go ahead.
Yeah, they do lose that right side tower, right? So, Muse has got a little bit of pressure over on the right side. Sklari maybe not doing quite as much as Rogue is hoping for. We haven't seen any rotations come out from it yet either. Do you think that's going to change here with that tower being down?
Well, it does open up quite a bit. I am kind of surprised, but not surprised at the same time, to see that gadget was able to take that turret down, because Kalari just can't really answer the wave clear, especially after that first item gets taken, even with the malady, which I'm not sure if that's what Tekken is going first item with him not being in the jungle here, but just really no way to answer that lane pressure of the gadget. But still looking good. I know that Tekken Kid's got a kill or two, and really what you want to do when you have a Kalari is move them around the map anyways. It's not nearly as much about keeping them in lane and trying to lock one individual player into a 1v1 over and over again. It's sneaking up behind people while invisible and slitting them with the daggers. So probably a little bit in the favor of the strategy of Rogue to let Tekken Kid move around the map, as we do see starting to do that already. I do want to take a second really quick just to mention, because I don't know if any of us throughout this entirety of this broadcast have mentioned this yet, but we do have a familiar pairing here on Rogue to our tournament organization as well. Both Crashy and Lakeinator were on TOS when they won our first event way back in January. So there is that little bit of jungle mid synergy standing true here. Even though Lakeinator was on ADC then, we do have some returning champions in this game.
Oh my goodness, and returning to the gray screen is Richter. Crunch finds that one. Good rotation coming out from Blue Jay.
Blue Jay's
now under the tower, keeps it going. Drongo falls as well. That's 2 down. It'd be an opportunity for a little bit more here.
Ooh,
The
big black
Liquidator
hole.
made the rotation. The black hole comes through. Blink comes out. Revenant's not having any of that. And down from the skies, make it rain, make it hurt. He is getting forced out. Liquidator still clinging to life as Rampage finds the first kill into Blue Jay. Still, they're looking for a little bit more. Rampage trying to find his way on out, running to Lakeinator. Does separate the damage.
Lakeinator doing his best penguin impersonation with those happy feet. I have no idea how he just survived that. He black holed in the middle of 4 people that more or less got out of it right away. He got make it rain right on top of his head, and he still is just juke, diving, dipping, dodging away from those, and is able to get it out with a little bit of help from Crashy. Great job from Crashy as well, picking up that kill on the crunch with Blue Jay there. Honestly, really impressive from Rogue, in my opinion.
Impressive from Rogue, still in favor of Dojo on that one, though. It was essentially a 2-for-1 on that one.
Yes, and then right on spawn, they are going to jump into it right as it is coming up, seeing if they can secure the second one, get that out of combat movement speed. It doesn't look like Red Dojo is aware and ready to compete here. They are here a little bit late to the Fang Bang, though.
Oh, keep an eye on Kalari in the back. Tekken is here. He's got a flank. But here comes the crunch. Big suppression comes out, but the health bars are very low. Ooh. Somehow Haru is still alive on this Drago. And it's like you said, Lakeinator has no fear. Like a waterfall, he comes crashing in. The black hole comes up, but it's immediately stopped. Put down. Belka finds that one. And it's not over just yet here. And Richter's trying to find it, but he's so dangerously low. Cannot survive as Mu makes the rotation.
Lakeinator was so close to that hashtag calculated play there. Used the black hole on cooldown as it was coming up. If he had True Silver Bracelet online for that, if it would have popped up, I don't know if he doesn't have it finished yet or if it was on cooldown from the fact that he just used that ability 25 seconds ago as well. But really close to being able to turn that really, really good knock-up coming out of Belka there from Atomic, being able to CC him and stop that big black hole from turning that fight for Rogue.
It was an interesting fight, is how I will describe that one. The Fangtooth does go the way of Rogue.
Did I miss that? Are you sure that Dojo didn't steal it? Did Dojo get the first Fang? Oh, they did get the first Fangtooth while the mini prime was getting taken. That's right. I apologize. I was going to say it felt like Rogue took that one very, very clean and smooth.
It was a...
We have a little bit of a Discord malfunction here, but we will be back to you very, very shortly. Let's just talk about the state of the game that we're in right now. I believe we still only have that one tower taken back. Oh, I still believe that we have that only one tower taken by Red Dojo over there in the offlane against Tekken Kit. We got Fangtooths tied at 1-1, but we've got the one mini prime advantage over to Rogue. Definitely in a good spot for gold, probably in the lead right now. And we are back in it, so we'll just give you an official thing. They're also up 3 kills as well. That's the first tower falling, or the second tower falling for Red Dojo. So it does look like Rogue is going to have a decent little gold advantage right here in their pockets. Be a little bit of an advantageous spot here. I believe we may get a full item out of this back from Haru here as he comes as well. Depending on what he's going to, that looked like it was going to be a Dusk Devil in my opinion.
Yeah, they should have a slight advantage, but I don't think it'll be too severe just yet. Now, if Tekken can also get the other tower on that right side, that'll boost them up a little bit further. But right now, it's still fairly close to even. If you're taking these camps away, that's a good start. Building it up a little bit more as well here.
Teaming up on that 5 camp. They didn't stand a chance.
This 5 camps, you got to do numbers with numbers. If there's 5 minutes to camp, you got to bring your whole team to take down the camp.
You don't want to take a fight in a bad numbers disadvantage, right?
Have you seen those guys? They're squatted up.
Anyways, so we do have, it looks like Tekken was able to get that first turret over there. So all tier 1s have fallen on Red Dojo's side of the map. Rogue is still holding strong with 2 up on their side. The mid and the duo lane is still holding on. So up 3 kills as well. The doesn't look like Mini Prime is going to spawn in time to take it before the 20-minute mark when it turns into its older brother Orb Prime. So the next objective we're probably looking to see a fight over is this third Fangtooth. See who can get to second first, and then who can put... And then who will get the following one when Primal Fangtooth comes onto the map as well is where we need to be looking.
Keep an eye on that mid lane as well. You can see Red Dojo is trying to form up around it, trying to find some way to get some pressure before this next Fangtooth does spawn. Because right now, the map is so in favor of Rogue. With all tier 1s from Red Dojo just dropped down, everything kind of opens up nice and wide for them. They can move around this map a lot more freely. If Red Dojo can at least get this mid tower, that gives them a little bit of pushback.
It did look like Red Dojo actually snuck a mini prime as well, as I saw Blue Jay was glowing purple. So if there is one thing that 3 mages is really good at within the game, it is wave clear and sieging.
Yeah.
You know, they can just basically walk up to a tower. They don't care if the wave is there. I mean, they do care if their wave is there. They don't care if the enemy wave is there, because they can just delete that with a gadget, howitzer, Bellica, Revenant, Crunch. They basically don't have enemy waves to worry about at any point in this game. So might be able to siege it up, pick a lot of gold up here at once while they have this mini prime, but Rogue is still definitely in the driver's seat of this game right now. As we are approaching the 20-minute mark, or prime will be up. I don't expect to see either of these teams make an immediate push for it. And I just want to mention really quick, because we saw Haru do this. So we saw him put a ward down right in the middle of mid lane. And I am speaking nonsensical because the Kalari is on his team and not the enemy team. I was just going to mention that you can't buy wards. They're a limited resource. And when you play against a Kalari, you have to waste some of that limited resource by putting wards in lanes to be safe. But Kalari is on his team, and I look like a silly boy right now.
Well, I mean, it's still very handy, because now he can see if Red Dojo is trying to rotate over towards this Fangtooth, which it doesn't appear that they do, because
they are going for
right
it
now.
Put him in a wheelbarrow and walk him around with as ballsy as these guys are being right now. What is the play to just try to trade this? Gonna come in with a huge black hole, give them the double kill.
Oh, but Horde Prime dangerously low right now, and it does fall. And it is Red Dojo who appears to have gotten that one. They're low right now, though. Keep an eye on Victor. Looking for the flank. Doesn't find the Riplash, but they're still pressing forward. Lakenator over the wall, comes down from the sky, but he's dropped himself right onto this Crunch, who indeed likes to punch, punch, punch. Not going to punch their way out, though, is Bellica. Goes down. That's one more. It's a clean wipe. Only this Crunch is getting out alive. I don't even know if he's getting out.
Yeah, the howitzer died at the very beginning of that, right? He hasn't respawned at this point. Only the Crunch has got the Orb Prime, and it looks like he's about to not have it as Horo is pursuing him. Lakenator's going to be behind him as well. Let's see if he's got the double forward Crunch. Richter's going to cut him off as well. He's done. All right, so yeah, no more Orb Prime on the book at all for Red Dojo. You can pretty much pretend that didn't happen, because honestly, it was in Rogue's favor. They also got the second Fangtooth out of that, so great answer by them. Good map awareness as well to catch where they were at. Lakenator's in the perfect time or spot at the perfect time. They know they don't need his damage to take the Fangtooth, as it is still one of the little ones. So great job by him checking everywhere out on the map. And Rogue, even after giving up that 20-ish minute Orb Prime, not going to get punished too hard and is still really in control of this game.
Not going to get punished at all. That was catastrophic for Red Dojo. I mean, they gave up the Fangtooth for free because they said, okay, we can out-macro them. Sure, we'll let them have a stupid little dinosaur. Who cares? We're going to get the big robot. No. Yes, but no. Just losing everyone on that just swung this game wildly in Rogue's favor. They got every single person from that fight, pushed their gold lead that much more, and Dojo got nothing out of it. They got a little bit of gold for killing the objective, and then promptly lost it in the team fight where they didn't get any value whatsoever. Yeah. Now it's full aggression from Rogue. He's going Rogue. Black Hole takes one down. Crunch goes straight into it. He's not looking too happy right now.
Yeah, Lake's on 3 items. He's going to be incredibly strong at this point. He's got the Mega Cosm, the Wraith leggings, and the True Silver bracelet there to help him stay protected in his ult. You got to be careful. This guy's dropping space rocks on you that'll put a hole in the earth and cause an ice age right now.
That is somehow an understatement. It's like, I don't know how, but somehow it's an understatement because he is just going crazy. Look at how quickly these towers are dropping. Blue Jay's gonna
go in.
Blue Jay, I don't know about this one. They are going to find the kill. But can they find anything else? Will they get punished for it? It doesn't appear so because Lakenair has to immediately warp out.
Look at the pressure that's coming from this 1-3-1 as well. They were able to stop them in mid, but both Tekken and Crashy are in the side lanes pushing up to these tier 2 turrets. They answered Tekken, so Crashy may be able to get a little bit. Now he's going to be backing up to the 3 camp as well, but great lane pressure as they've got them pushed well past the river right now on Red Dojo's side. Rogue is really in control. Really impressive performance out of them today. I am honestly a little shocked to see the way that they handled both Red Dojo and Royalties so far today. Big kudos to these guys and the way they're playing.
Well, it's like they always say, it ain't over till it's over. Rogue is certainly leading, but they're going to have to close it out as well. They should be in a position to do so.
That's why they play the games.
They've got plenty of time to look for a comeback here. We've seen how much damage those Orb Primes can do. If Rogue decides to go for one of those, that could be a play point for Red Dojo to try to come back into things, find some lower health targets, maybe switch things around on them. Where do they go, right? How do they take the initiative to try to pull this game back?
So I think that you just have to be aware of what your strengths are as a team here. Red Dojo doesn't really have like a lot of long gauge or a long range engage, a lot of long range, like anything but kind of poke at this point. I honestly think they're getting to the point that it may be smart for them to look to Deathball and try to catch like 1 or 2 individual members at a timeout. But that's going to be hard with the mobility and the slipperiness that is on Rogue right now. Richter's got the movement speed. Drongo's the safest ADC in the game with his ability to disengage and peel himself, with him having a slow with silence and like a knockback and pushback of himself. Kalari, we don't need to get into why Kalari is hard to find. Anybody that's ever played against Kalari knows how evasive she is.
I've never played against her.
You've never played against a Kalari?
Yeah, can you explain it to me?
Yeah, I can. So Kalari can go invisible while taking damage after a very short delay, and she also has a double or triple jump. She doesn't follow the rules of verticality that most of the other champions in the game have. Her ult is also semi-dash-like. A lot of people use it in dash situations, but it also does just an insane amount of damage if you do get hit with it. Kalari is so hard to hit. You basically have to have a ward and you have to have them ready. Like I mentioned before, they are a limited resource, so she's very hard to pick off in a bad spot. But if they can land CC on her, she blows up.
No one else would have humored me in that situation, all right? No one else would have believed me when I said I've never played against Kalari. This is why I like you. But yeah, I mean, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, absolutely right. I do hate Kalari. Lakeinator just doesn't seem to care about anything, man. He is running directly at this crunch. Like, he's daring him to try to do something to him, and he's not willing to take him up on it. He said, nah, no, I don't think so. Gadget, Moomuse might be in a bad spot here. Does return actually a lot of damage back.
Oh, well, actually really aggro on Moose part. What is this about? Okay, he's just going to be able to walk right through it. He's got the True Silver Bracelet, so he gets that CC immunity once he drops the Tesla Dome. But it looks like Rogue is just going to disengage from this. They know that they are, you know, in an advantageous spot in the game. Don't need to take any unnecessary risks to let Red Dojo slip back into this game.
Do they? Because they looked like they were taking some unnecessary risks there. I mean, Lakeinator, I respect the guts to step up there, but you're a mage, man. Now they've been forced back, and look at the positioning from Red Dojo. They're here around the Fangtooth.
And this is what it's about. We've been talking about ways that Red Dojo can get back into this game. It's securing the big objectives. They have the better team fight overall, I would say. With the amount of damage, they're going to be able to output a little under tanked in comparison. But if they can get a good team fight and take one of these big objectives, this is where they can win the game. So let's see. Lakeinator's going to use the black hole already.
He's trying to find a way out, but he's running through a minefield. Slow, and punch down. It is answered back 1 or 2 for 2 so far. Crunch now leading the charge, trying to find a little bit. But look at this positioning from Haru. He's got the complete flank. He's free casting. He's freestyling. The gunslinger is here, and he's slinging some bullets and putting them to their graves. That is a win for Rogue. It's ADC.
Yeah, that's going to be
C here.
4 members down on each team, actually. Good lane advantage for Team Rogue, though. Natty's going to have to do what he can to keep Haru off of this. But yeah, he's going to say, I expect Haru to just get aggressive here. Maybe. Oh, yep.
Wow.
Whoa, he did die. Okay, yeah, so then that's
he's alive.
So only Ak is up for the next 15 seconds here, 10 seconds. He's going to have to do what he can to get him off of this really good wave clear. Probably going to be able to get the solo in the right position. You got to be careful, Ak.
Ooh! Can he find it? Oh my God, he's a madman!
Clinic! Ooh, Haru!
Hey, man. I didn't call him a gunslinger for nothing. Haru is finding the shots, and that was incredible gunplay coming out from the ADC. I was questioning it on the dive against Revenant. I won't lie. That looked sketchy to me. And I was also questioning his willingness to step up to Occam. But this is a player who knows the damage output. He understands what kind of damage he has. He understands what kind of damage this howitzer is putting out as well. And he said, you know what? I can lifesteal through this. I can dodge the missile. And if you're going to go ahead and say that and then do it, heck, I'm not questioning him next time.
Yeah, and it felt like they may have been able to fall back onto the Primal Fang after that. It did look like Haru needed a little bit of a reset here, but still, with Blue Jay down for another 46 seconds, this should be a free Primal Fang coming over to Rogue. That may be the extra damage they need to pop through this, win this next team fight, and potentially push this game down. They're in a great position here.
Now, this Primal Fangtooth is going down without contention. This is going to be a huge boon for Team Rogue now.
Yeah, and once again, we did see Lakeinator be smart, put that ward over there in the Orb Prime Pit to make sure that they weren't doing that, but that is where the eyes are going to be set.
Yep.
Still 15 seconds on this crunch, and then probably 10 seconds to the pit. If they can destroy this in less than 30 seconds, which they should be able to 30 minutes into the game with the Primal Fang. Yeah, they're even going to double smite it to make sure they burst it fast enough. Not a whole lot of options for Red Dojo. They have to get in here, try to make a play, trying to pursue the gadget. She's going to use the crest, but she's in pretty big trouble here.
Oh, Haru's got a hat. Haru is no more. He's down for the count. Now it's up to Lakeinator, the black hole, looking for the damage. He's finding it, but he's getting it put right back as well. Revenant puts him into the Shadow Realm, trying to find a way out. He does survive for now. And meanwhile, they're still on the Orb Prime. Can they finish it?
Crashy.
They do. Go ahead and get that one.
There. He was so close to going down there as Blue Jay comes into it as well. We kind of see a reverse of what happened at the first 20-minute prime that we saw, where Red Dojo caught it and then got completely wiped. That just more or less happened to Rogue right here. Not a whole lot more of their members, just gonna be Pinzo and Tekken Kid that have that right now. Great job to answer by Red Dojo to try to stop this bleeding, but it may still be too much as these two members have both Primal Fang and or Prime on them. They got to try to put some sort of tourniquet or something onto this wound that Red Dojo has, because they are still in pretty big trouble here, showing a little bit of signs of life and that they are not going down without a fight.
So, Lance, I mean, I'm looking at that fight. I'm looking back at it, and in the first, 3 seconds of DPS, I swear, Orb Prime dropped to, half health. They were shredding through it. Then Mumu steps up, and he comes around the corner. And it felt like Rogue was disjointed on their response.
Right.
It didn't feel like they were committing all in on Orb or committing all in on Mumu's.
Right.
What went wrong?
So I think the biggest thing is that Haru peeled off of the Orb Prime. Haru's been making a lot of plays this game, doing an insane amount of damage. The most DPS on their team, if I had to bet right now, especially the most to a neutral objective like Orb Prime. You saw him immediately turn around and try to chase down that kill of Mumu's because he knows he can 3 or 4 shot him at this point. But instead of that, you need to be focusing on securing the objective. They were able to get it anyways, but at the cost of their ADC dying in the process of it, which has got them in this position here where only Pinzo and Tekken Kid have the Orb Prime to try to push this in. Still going to be able to pressure this mid inhibitor, potentially get it to fall as Tekken Kid is pressuring over in the right lane as well. But we just wanted to see Haru stay on there. They would have killed the Orb Prime in probably the next 2 or 3 seconds if he would have continued to rain that Drongo damage down on top of it. But it still did turn out all right here for the side of Rogue.
On that left side, minions are pushing up. There's no inhibitor there to slow them down. Rogue is playing this one careful and slow, just trying to bide their time, allowing their minions to create pressure on the left side. And they're ready at any point to go in.
Just like Spooky said, take a point of the fact that the minions on the left side are crashing at the same time as the minions on the right side, the same as mid. This is really, really good wave control out of Rogue and very difficult to defend for Red Dojo.
This might be finally the time for them to go in. They're looking for the stuns.
The
good amounts of damage. Oh boy, Blue Jay goes on in, and in the skies goes Akram. for some damage, not able to find a whole lot of it, but hey, yo, pulled into the Shadow Realm. Haru in a bad spot, has to immediately disengage, try to find his way back to his team. Now he is back out to the safety where he can be surrounded by these friendly health bars.
Tekken Kid did get the right side inhibitor and is it on the base. It looks like Moose is back there defending it. Atomic's going to fall back to do it as well, and that's going to give them the pressure they need to be able to pick 90. And
but it's over. It's just over.
Oh, what?
Tekken
okay.
Solos the inhibitor, solos the core. I was so focused on the fight, so focused on the defense, I didn't realize there wasn't a defense.
Not to get all punny with you here, but they kind of won that in a rogue fashion where we weren't paying attention to it, and Kalari just kind of won in the shadows there. So I'm still trying to pull myself together after all of the sudden the game ending. A lot of damage coming out from Tekken Kid. Let's actually check the charts really quick. I was just a little bit too slow with my Lysdexia to be able to read the damage charts. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we got big damage coming out of Drongo. We got big damage coming out of Gideon as well. The top damage on the map actually looks like it does go to Atomic and the losing side as well, but it's about how you play together as a team. And honestly, what a ending by Tekken Kid. That is a backdoor that will rival Xpeke. Let's break that down quick, Spooky.
I mean, it looks like at least one of these teams needs to go back to the dojo, try to learn some tips on how to deal with that, and maybe clean the red, which seems to be their blood, off of the walls. But it's just clinical play from Tekken. He knows that his team is pressuring that mid lane incredibly hard, right? You can see the boulders coming through, the stuns coming out, and they're forcing these abilities out from Red Dojo. And Tekken's just doing his work very quietly over there. He's not trying to push into that inhibitor. He's just kind of keeping those waves cleared up so he constantly has some pressure there. As soon as the defense comes out from Red Dojo and they commit to try and take down one of these targets, that's when he makes his move. That's when Tekken goes in and just annihilates the inhibitor in quick fashion. And he does it so quickly that Red Dojo doesn't even recognize that it's happening until it's far too late.
I feel like they really capitalized on the greed of Red Dojo. We saw them try to, like the Revenant ult Reckoning came out onto the Drongo. He started to run down the lane, and we saw that Rampage was in a slightly compromised position. So Red Dojo was trying to chase that down, get that crashy pick, able to get the Rampage off of the map so that they could possibly look at one of the bigger objectives or something. And then all of a sudden, Tekken, who had that pressure on the side, is able to go, okay, well, we walked all three of our lanes up at the same time. We already had that other inhibitor down on the other side. We've got basically super minions pushing in on it. I'm going to take this down. I know that I can 1v1 anybody on your team. And if I get up on that core we talked about, I know you haven't played against Kalari, but the elusiveness of her, she is hard to pin down. One of the things that people like Gadget offlane about is the fact that you drop the gate, you drop the seek and destroy, you put a hat on somebody, and they can't go anywhere. Well, Kalari doesn't get hit by the gate because she just double jumps over and ends the game.
Really is just as simple as that. I mean, it probably felt a lot less simple to Red Dojo, but break it down at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Tekken was just the man for the job with the pick for the job, and he got it done.
So yeah, congratulations to Rogue. They are going to take our 3rd seed. Red Dojo will be our 4th seed. That means Rogue gets to avoid the side of our bracket with our champions immune on it. Red Dojo will be on that, potentially get them in the semifinals if they're able to push to that spot. But just a hell of a performance today by all of the teams. I want to make sure to thank all of you guys for coming out. We're going to kick it back to our desk to end the game for us. From all of the casters here, especially Spooky Mars and myself and Jack and all of the guys, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we're going to kick it back to the desk.
What an incredible performance by all these teams. While we sit here being chilling, congratulations Team Rogue, Tekken Kid, Crashy, Lakeinator, Pinzo, and Haru. But it ain't over till it's over. Thank you so much for watching, and we're going to see you next time for the main event on April 29th to see who will be able to reign as champions in the PCC. Not to forget, I don't want to forget to mention our new prize pool is now $1,000. So please make sure to tune in if you want to see who will rise to the top of the Prime Championship circuit. And while you're here, why don't you please Make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, watch our YouTube. If you have your Prime sub, we would really like to have your support. All of the money goes towards our organization, and we can, you know, if you want more of us, we'll be able to show more of us. And I'd like to just say thank you to the behind the scenes work from our production team. So Choice Plays, Geronimo Jack, TDM, Hot Sauce, The Jolster, our casters, Spooky Mars, The Lance Chesticles, Norendis, and also I can't forget Trix and Cosby. Thank you so much for being there with me, you know, watching this game. You guys are our desk analysts, arsenals of knowledge. And of course, my name is RDog, and it with the triple G, and it was a journey watching all of these games right along with you. If you want more of us, please don't forget to hit that follow button. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead. We're gonna show some love to somebody in the community. We kind of saw him like play in this tournament. That is Sawcap, who is a part of the Bronze Army. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Welcome to the PCC.